Joining me now is my good friend and good friend of the show, Chris Sims of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. I want to have Chris on, well, all the time, but but I think you guys need some variety in the guests that I have on the show. But this time to talk about the credit upgrade happening in Alberta. We've had a series of them now, thanks to our government being more responsible than it has been with our taxpayer dollars, while simultaneously a threatened credit downgrade at the federal level. Chris, tell us what's going on here in Alberta.
Yeah, so this is good news, and we're usually the big storm cloud, so we always want to highlight good news when we can. So the good news is here in Alberta, we just got, it's not a credit upgrade per se, but our outlook has improved from Moody's. So Moody's is basically this huge, ginormous international credit rating agency. What they say matters to the financial bros, and it determines how much we pay on interest. So this is important. And so they have changed our outlook as a province in Alberta from stable to positive. Meaning, hey, everybody, you can lend these people money. You can invest in this province because it's a good bet. It's a good investment. And that also allows us then to borrow money at a lower interest rate. Who pays the interest on our provincial debt? You and me, Sheila, all of your listeners, all of your viewers here in the province of Alberta. Right now, last time I checked with their year-end update, we're paying around $3.1 billion per year just in the interest payment on our debt. So that's almost 3 hospitals. So that's important. So we really wanted to give the government a pat on the back when it's due. And this also falls hard on the heels of Fitch, which is another big international credit rating agency that did give us a credit upgrade, like an actual boost. So this is important. So according to Moody's, we are now at 2AA, which is good, apparently, for our interest rate. And at the same time, like you point out, we've seen downgrades in other provinces, and we're hearing about a threatened downgrade federally. So I really wanted to highlight this as to why, though, okay? Because a lot of people might assume it's, just because the energy sector is doing a bit better than it was a few years ago. No, that matters, and that's always good. We want to see the energy sector doing well. But this is important. It's because we have a balanced budget law. It's because we're paying down the debt. It's because we're saving money. They listed all of these reasons right on their website. And this is key. Because we are keeping our spending increases below the rate of inflation plus population growth. That sounds super nerdy, and it is, but I wanted to explain it because at the Taxpayers Federation, we've been around since before the internet was a thing. We have been begging the Alberta government out loud with our faces and in writing since the mid-90s. Please keep your spending increases reined in below the rate of inflation and population growth. If they had done that, Sheila, back then when the Spice Girls were topping the charts, we would have about $300 billion saved. That's just money. That's not even invested money. That's just cash sitting under your mattress. So for this international credit rating agency to say, you know what, good job, that's important, because then it's not just us telling them to do something. They're getting recognition from outsiders and international groups, and they're more likely to stick with this fiscal discipline. So this is really nice news.
It is really good news, and it has been a long time coming. For example, a lot of this happened, this out of control spending. I mean, it did happen in the dying days of the old PC government, but the credit downgrades and the out of control deficit spending happened really in the first year of Rachel Notley's government. So that's way back in 2015. Here we are 9 years out. I think we saw 6 credit downgrades that happened during the first initial little bit of Rachel Notley's time in government. We are 9 years out of that, and we are only now starting to undo the damage. And as you say, it's not just debt. It's not just deficit spending. It is debt servicing charges that we're going broke on. And I think we could all do with 3 extra hospitals a year. for people who care about social services and the public safety infrastructure net, that's a lot that can be done. And it's going straight to international banksters right now.
Yep, exactly. Or it could go to reducing our income taxes, or it could eliminate the provincial fuel tax, like forever. Like they could afford so much if we had that extra $3 billion in our jeans pocket. I will stress, so I did a report. If people really want to nerd out, I have a whole bunch of charts. It's on our website, taxpayer.com. Go under the Alberta section, please, because it took me months to do this. I went back through every single budget till like 1994, 1995. Yeah. Did you know they used to put them out in like teal colors, like purple?
Oh, that's really fun.
It was like old school A&W. And so you're going through it. And if you go all the way back there, you can see where the spending increased. And it was largely under Stelmach.
Yep.
Okay. Spending just went banana pants.
Yeah.
Way up there. I was kind of surprised because I'm a kind of a newbie to Alberta. Spiritually, I've always loved Alberta, but I'm a newbie to Alberta. And then, of course, NDP Premier Rachel Notley, she didn't balance the budget even one time.
Didn't even think of it.
Not even one time. And so I know balancing the budget can be hard. You have to learn to say no, okay, especially to special interest groups, because it's everybody's money. And this is, again, highlighting why it's super important to keep your budget balanced and keep your spending in check, pay down the debt, and as an extra bonus, they're saving for a rainy day. Sounds like they're going to be taking the Heritage Fund seriously this time around. Because if we had done so, again, back in the day when we first started this thing, we'd be looking a lot more like Alaska. Not quite Norway, because they've just got a crazy amount of money in that thing. But
and they don't have to share it through equalization. They don't have to send it to places who aren't fiscally responsible.
Nope. They've got it really set up well. If you want to cry, look up the I forget what it's called, the Norwegian Solidarity Fund or something like that, Security Fund, something like that. But we could be closer to Alaska if we had played our cards right and not, emptied out the Heritage Fund. And so now, knockwood, it sounds like these guys are pretty serious about this stuff and they've put it into law. So I really wanted to give kudos where it is due because I do yell at them a lot. So if they are doing the right thing, I do want to tell them they're doing so. And so this is really good. We got this credit rating upgrade.
And on the flip side, and we just sort of mentioned it in passing, Justin Trudeau's Liberal government, they doubled the size of the national debt in less than a decade. This is from Michelle Rempel Garner's Substack. And now multiple senior economists in major financial institutions have issued warnings that unless the Liberals, not eventually, but immediately lessen the size of the federal deficit, Canada is going to be faced with a credit downgrade. And if that downgrade happens, it just wouldn't increase the cost of borrowing from the federal government. It would likely further increase the cost of borrowing for every single Canadian as well. And as she puts it, if this happens in the middle of Canada's current affordability crisis, while Canadians are already shouldering some of the highest household debt loads in the world, it could have explosively bad implications for the entire Canadian economy.
Absolutely. So this is going to get heavy, and I'm sorry. We'll probably try to end on a lighter note, but
we will.
It's a serious, major problem. Like super duper. So right now the deficit is just over $40 billion. And there's a difference between obviously deficit and debt. Deficit is yearly holes in your budget. That's your yearly shortfall for your annual budget. So say you made $100, okay? That was your revenue, but you spent 140. Obviously, your deficit for that year would be $40. Now add a whole bunch of zeros to that for the federal government. So our deficit is $40 billion this year. To your point, Sheila, and I can't stress this enough, the Trudeau government since 2015 has now, this year, doubled our national debt. So imagine that's like the Matrix and you're looking backwards in time. Okay, all the Neos and the Trinities are lined up. Picture all of the prime ministers lined up back to Confederation. Add all of their debts up. Trudeau has doubled them. Just one guy's government. So this is really critically important because it's now over $1.2 trillion.